Alright guys, so welcome to the weekend of mad wiring, I guess. So this would be the third part. I took a bunch of pictures that went along. I'll put them on the video. I'll keep this short. Grab my zip ties. So as you can see, we got 0 gauge wire going directly to our battery. Over here, I got to neaten that up just a hair, but it's good. I got my leads for the distributor. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go out and buy weather pack connector, a GM style connector for the distributor, because I only have one end on the distributor and no end on the other, and I do not want to hardwire it. I want to be able to disconnect it. So I'll show you guys what it looks like. The switch panel is back on. You can see things are pretty nice and neat. Let's walk around the other side. I'm going to turn on the flash. Is it on? Yep, I can see it in the reflection. So you can see we got our relays. Our wires are feeding through the board and they're going up. So the white wire is the trigger wire. We have that going up to the switch panel, and then from the switch panel we have a hot lead going to a fuse block. So our hot leads to the switches are also fused. We have our bus bar with all of our direct hots to the relay, and we have our 0 gauge battery positive going right into the bus bar on a lug terminal, and the MSD box is hooked up directly to that stud, which according to MSD should be more than enough, and it should be good. And then we have down here all of our grounds for our relays going into this bus bar with the same type deal. We got a 0 gauge negative cable going directly from the battery, and then we also have a 0 gauge wire on a body ground just to add another ground to that. As many grounds as possible. And then we also have ground on the firewall, so we got plenty of grounds around here. Now the only thing I haven't hooked up is all of my accessories. I tested all of the relay leads, and we have power going to everything correctly out of the panel. So our water pump is, we don't have anything labeled. Everything is by color. So I just have to put on here a label for all of the colors and where they go. So this blue wire is fuel pump. This is for the water pump. The white one is for the fans. The yellow is for the AFR gauge. The red is for the ignition. It's up there somewhere. And then the yellow one is AFR. Yes, I missed a color somewhere in the description here. But either way, the only difference is that our fan wire coming from the fans is orange. And our water pump cable power wire is red. So I have to note that, but that's easy enough to trace because we know that off of these basic colors what they're going to be connected to. So just by following this lead, and it's zip tied to the trigger wire, we will know where it goes. So even if there is a different color lead heading back into the engine bay, we can keep track of it. Now I did MSD has these like 16 gauge wires, 14 gauge wires. I went to a 12 gauge since I had to hook into it with I didn't want to solder these. So I did butt connectors on this, my distributor wires. Our ignition lead is up there somewhere. I have to hook that up to the relay as well. And this is our fuel pump lead, which is also red. So we have to probably label these, or I'm going to have to run a blue wire from the back to the front, which is no big deal. This is easy enough to follow. But yeah, it's actually hot and I have like a sniffly nose. But you can see everything is pretty nice, pretty neat. I ended up using Lexan. Big thank you to Dave Worthington for the idea. And, I asked them what their thoughts was on running through fuses for the switch leads, which in theory you do not need, but it is better that you do. And you can see I still got some shit up there that I'm going to try to scrape off and blow out. That's just insulation material. I'll probably just clean it up as it falls off. But as you can see, we have easy access through the glove box for all of our positive bus bars and coil. Our lead is only going to be 24 inches, which should be fine. And then our box, and you can see everything came out pretty good. So I have to thank Dr. Dan for hooking me up with the Pro Billet distributor at a great price. I also have to thank my buddy, 67 Cutlass Freak, Dave Meyer, for the MSD box that he gave me. I want to thank Jim Cooper, who runs JCE Fuel Systems. I want to thank him for all of his advice and giving me pointers as he's seen some of the stuff that I've been posting on my Facebook. So big shout out to those guys, JJ as well. You know, I use my system of, you know, my circle of friends to help me out and when I need advice. And, you know, we had to call MSD to figure out if the 0 gauge wire was going to be the way that we could go. And they said it should be more than enough. I mean, MSD wants you to run a 10 gauge wire from the box, which at the box it's 12 gauge. You have to go up a size. So you would have to go 10 gauge from the inside of the car all the way to the battery. And I figure 0 gauge all the way into the bus bar lug with the MSD box hooked up to that should probably be a little bit better, because thinner wires tend to carry a little bit more resistance when they get hot. These will carry more current consistently without as much of a drop or draw or buildup of resistance, I believe. But if not, then we know what the car pulled like with a good HEI, and we're going to see if we do have issues, then we will hook it up directly to the battery, and we will still stay with our 0 gauge battery setup, because there's nothing wrong with that. You want good, clean power going to anything. We got grommets on the firewall for all that stuff. So on that note, I'll let you guys go. I'm going to drop all the pictures of everything from making the panel and everything going along. Tomorrow, I hook up all of my auxiliary stuff, wire up the distributor, and maybe even fire it up. We'll see. I've been taking it little by little. This hasn't been an overwhelming job, but I've been a little methodical about it and just taking my time and being careful to make sure everything worked right. So I'll let you guys go. Share, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Follow me on Instagram as Copper Cutlass. We'll see you guys around.
In the making, 40 years for the taking. Anything to be famous. Same story never changes. And I see who you are, and it tears me apart. You're lost in the fog, so go back to the start.